How's it going, laser boosters? I'm Sixkilla and welcome back to Route Double. We have found Mashido, finally. After searching the entire town for her, we sent out a telepathic message from Natsuhiko, and he did it. It reached her over a 2-kilometer distance, and she got it. And we have found out that the reason she knows about the terrorist plot is because she actually does possess the skill empathy. She is able to read minds. So that leads a lot of credence to her claims. Let's carry on, shall we? We're about to go hunt down the terrorists, supposedly. The three of them talked as they walked outside. Okay, then how should we conduct the search? Hold up, Mashido. First we should get a feel for each other's abilities. What's the real extent of your ability? Me? In my case, I'd say telepathy with an effective range of approximately 500 meters and empathy with an effective range of approximately 10 meters. I haven't been certified, but I'd say I'm around ability level 5. Huh? Natsuhiko was surprised by that answer. Ability level 5 meant you were among the highest of elites among all currently recognized communicators. If you could freely use empathy on a target at a distance, you were classified as ability level 5. There were said to be no more than 50 communicators of that level in all of Japan. Hold on. That's seriously amazing, isn't it? I'm surprised too. You must be a genius, Mashido. No, I wouldn't go that far. Mashido had mixed feelings, but she was mostly embarrassed. Say, guys, I certainly can use empathy, but don't be afraid of me, okay? Huh? I know it might be hard to believe, but I absolutely do not peek into other people's hearts without good reason. When I read the terrorist's mind, I just made an exception because I was worried about Salu. So obviously, it's not like I read your minds or anything. Yeah, I understand. I don't have a mind with anything worth hiding in the first place, and of course we won't tell anyone else about it. We'll keep this our little secret. I see, thank goodness. Mashido was relieved to hear their answers. Okay, then how's your ability level, Natsuhiko? I'm not quite sure myself yet, but telepathy with an effective range of approximately 2 kilometers, I guess. 2 kilometers? Seriously? Yeah, apparently. Around what ability level does that correspond to? I've never heard of an effective range of 2 kilometers before. That far surpasses my ability at level 5. So just maybe, could it be level 6? Mashido looked at Natsuhiko with admiration. Now that he thought about it, Iena had mentioned there could be still many unknown areas in the field of BC, which meant that there very well could be an ability level 6 communicator and beyond. Hold on a sec. Natsuhiko, try sending me some telepathy. Okay, hold on a sec. And with that, Natsuhiko put a finger to his temple and focused. Mashido, can you hear me? If you can, then please answer. He tried to focus hard on the message from the bottom of his heart. However... How was that, Mashido? Hear me? Huh? I'm sorry I didn't hear anything. Huh? Apparently nothing happened. Didn't feel the odd sensation of his 5 senses dampening either. Looks like I still can't control it yet. I see. Maybe it was because you didn't have any message that you particularly wanted to tell Mashido. I see, maybe my ability only works when I absolutely need it. He wasn't entirely sure if that was amazing or amazingly let down. It was an amazing letdown. At any rate, since he couldn't use empathy at all, it would be hard to classify him as level 6 regardless. I'm kinda starting to regret not taking practice seriously now. If only we could use telepathy to communicate, we'd be able to split up. No, Mashido, you remember the terrorist face. So we should act together anyway. Ah, you're right. That's right, Mashido. There's no point us spreading ourselves thin after we finally manage to regroup. Let's all search together. Yeah. By the way, do you have any leads as to where to search? Not that I can think of, but for now, how about we start with the places in town where incidents have happened recently? Okay then, let's go. And with that, the three of them headed into town. Afterwards, they used their PDAs to check the news. Several institutions, other than BC training centres, had received the objectionable literature. They didn't learn more than what the trainer had told them, but after they made their 5th inquiry, the three of them stopped for a moment's discussion. Okay, let's sort through what we know. Okay, first of all, the places that received objectionable literature are all BC related facilities, correct? Natsuhiko nodded. Several facilities, each relating somehow to BC, had received objectionable literature. And of all the objectionable literature was apparently signed Q. The receiving parties had different reactions to the literature, but all of it was rounded up by the police or the city security department. Also, there have been several fires lately, and they all seem to selectively damage BC related facilities. That's worrying too. It might be a coincidence, but beginning with the city's largest research facility, the BC Development Center, 3 such facilities have suffered from fires. Maybe the reason the security department's been so desperately rounding up the objectionable literature was to not fan up anxiety. But I still don't understand. What's the purpose of distributing objectionable literature? Yeah, what's that all about? The objectionable literature and the bomb threat at the school didn't seem to be no more than the criminals taking delight in getting a rise out of people. But then Mashido spoke up as if she'd remembered something. Wait a second, Ito. What if causing all this panic itself was just a means to prepare for their goal? Prepare? Well, I get the feeling that this trick resembles how Q has carried out their terrorism in the past. It resembles it how? 12 years ago there was an incident called the Sarubetsu City BC Laboratory Explosion. Right before the incident, Q caused an arson panic all around the same city, except the research facility that got bombed was a completely different place from the arson targets. They distracted the police and fire departments with arson before blowing up their real target. So you mean, it's all a diversion? Natsuhiko gasped. True, if you caused panic everywhere around the city, then the police and security department would have no choice but to spread their attention thin. Just collecting all the objectionable literature and tracking down its point of origin would require allocating a good amount of personnel. If their next incident is using the same trick, then their real target is elsewhere. And where do you think that real target is? The 3 of them thought for a second before speaking up all at once. Labo? The Parapsychology Research Center. It was the largest BC research facility in town, and they'd visited on a field trip just a few days ago. If Q was after BC research facilities, there'd be no bigger target. Let's go, guys. Yeah, we need to inform the staff members. And with that, the 3 of them dashed off. For now, they took the bus and got off in front of the Parapsychology Research Center. Is this place being targeted? In spite of their misgivings, the area was quite peaceful. Mashido stepped up to the building and tried to go inside, but... Huh? It's locked. Is it normally open? I think so. Should we check another day? No, we came all this way, so let's look for a staff member or someone. It's such a huge research facility, so I'm sure there's at least someone around. I want to hear their story at least. It'd actually be a relief if they did get objectionable literature too. They walked around the building's circumference as they spoke. Perimeter security was sparse. There was not a single guard to be seen. Furthermore, the building's back entrance... Ah, this door is unlocked. Huh? Just as Sally said, the rear entrance was unlocked. Security's way too sloppy here. Isn't that a little worrying? Wait, it could be the tracks the terrorists left after breaking in. What do we do? Should we report it to the police? No, that would probably be too hasty. They'd probably just laugh it off anyway. Mashido considered Natsuhiko's statement for a second before continuing. Then how about we go inside for a bit and check? Would that be okay? I wouldn't recommend it, but if anything happens, I'll protect you too. Oh, you're such a lovable girl, you. Sally said that word again. Protect us, huh? I appreciate the thought, but you shouldn't do something so dangerous. There was no way he could expect such a small girl to protect him. If anything happens, I should be the one to protect Sally, not the other way around. And with that thought, Natsuhiko trespassed into the building from the back entrance alongside the girls. As they passed through the corridor, they quickly came upon a wide room. It was the same office-like space they'd visited during the field trip. The room was quiet, or rather, too quiet. Yeah, it's like there's nobody here. Do you think the whole facility is taking today off? Something seemed odd about that suggestion. This is a facility that published many research results year-round. There has to be at least someone around. Let's just look a little. Yeah. The 3 of them then nervously walked around the facility. However, no matter how much they searched, they found neither hide nor hair of a single person. For the time being, they returned to the first room and spoke amongst themselves. What? Seriously? Nobody came at all? Yeah, kinda strange, isn't it? Sally nodded and muttered softly. That's not at all strange. This facility supposedly conducts various sorts of research, but there's a striking lack of research equipment. Huh? You're right. She did make a good point. There were several office-like rooms, but there was next to no actual experimental devices to be seen. Now that you mention it, I got the impression that a lot of the rooms were empty, or for storage. Several rooms were locked, so maybe those are the experimental rooms. No, judging by the circumstances, just as Sally said that, they suddenly heard a noise from outside the room. Every hair on Natsuhiko's body stood on end. He looked to see a brawny man entering the room from the window. What? Why did he enter the room from the window? What the fuck is he doing? Hey, what is he, fucking the Dukes of Hazzard, but he's going into the building like that? What do you think you're doing? This outfit suggested he was a security guard for the facility. He seemed to have spotted the kids from outside the window while he was patrolling around and shouted out to them. Natsuhiko was somewhat relieved and spoke to the security guard. We're sorry, we heard this facility was possibly being targeted by terrorists, so we came here to inform you. Terrorists? The security guard stiffened at that word. Where'd you hear that? Oh, it was doubtful that the security guard would believe Natsuhiko even if he told the truth. Natsuhiko thought for a second before answering. We heard that rumor from a friend. That's right, recently terrorists have been dispersing objectionable literature around the city. And it looks like they're targeting BC-related facilities, so we believe this place could be in danger too. I see, I see. Then allow me to get all the details out of you kids. And with that, the security guard violently grabbed at Natsuhiko's arm. Ow, what gives? Sorry, but please come with me to the security room. The security guard spoke in a stifled voice. As soon as he heard that, Natsuhiko became suspicious. Yeah, he's obviously working with the terrorists. What? The three of them were well-intentioned whistleblowers, and yet the security guard was training his discerning eyes on Natsuhiko. It's like he's looking at a culprit. Taken aback, Natsuhiko shook his hand out of the security guard's grip. Hey, what do you mean come to the security room? Well, I've heard that unrest has been spreading through this whole town lately, so we need to strengthen our guard here. Considering you don't even fucking lock the building, yes, you do. The security guard drew even closer to Natsuhiko. Hey, Quiddy, you're hurting Natsuhiko, aren't you? Yes, you should stop resorting to violence. Violence? I'm just trying to get you kids to talk. You're the ones who trespassed in the first place. You've got no place to talk back to an adult like that. The security guard shouted. Natsuhiko stood between him and the girls, but then... I thought I told you to stop. Sully spoke up for perhaps the first time. They heard anger mixed with her calm voice. What? By the time the security guard spoke, Sully had already sprung into action. She rushed over to him and grabbed his hand. And as if in an elegant dance, she wrapped herself behind him, and then... What? The security guard's large body flew through the air. For a second, Masato and Natsuhiko could not comprehend what had just happened. The security guard had struck the floor and passed out, the whites showing in his rolled back eyes. Huh? Sully, did you just throw him? Yes. Natsuhiko was speechless. How could such a small girl hurl a grown man like that? Sully not only excelled in wisdom and physical ability, but she was also well versed in the martial arts, apparently. That's amazing. Was that Aikido or something? Yes, he threatened to harm Natsuhiko, so I snapped and used a martial arts technique. You snapped her? You think we still had a few more options before knocking him out cold? Disappointing. I protected you, Natsuhiko. Why are you mad at me? Yeah, that's right. She did it for you, Natsuhiko. No, I appreciate the thought, but... Natsuhiko looked down at the security guard sprawled out at his feet. Will he be okay? I held back. He didn't hit his head, so he'll wake up eventually. But there's no denying that he didn't injure us, but we knocked him out, so it looks like it'll be a pain to smooth things over when he wakes up. So I think we should run? That would be best, but no matter what this man says later, it was justified self-defense. You think so? Spurred on by Natsuhiko's confusion, Sully spewed a steady stream of words. I am familiar with Japanese law, Penal Code Article 36, Self-Defense, Paragraph 1. An act unavoidably performed to protect the rights of oneself and any other person against imminent and unlawful infringement is not punishable. Even if said act is to protect the rights of intruders against the authorities, it is no exception. This man was threatening to infringe on Natsuhiko's rights with violent behaviour, so I unavoidably had to throw him once or twice. Now that's a well-reasoned argument. It seems a little forced though. But they didn't have any time to discuss law here. All things considered, they technically conveyed the possibility of terrorism here, so they probably fulfilled at least the minimum of their civic duty. Hopefully they use this little scuffle here as a reason to increase security, and everything will turn out alright in the end. Oh well, let's get out of here for now before things get crazy. Roger. Roger. And with that, they left the room. They broke off into a mad dash as they got outside. Once they got all the way back to the faraway residential area, they finally took a breather. Do you think we managed to escape? It's okay, I checked behind as we were running. Nobody followed. Sally spoke without breaking a sweat. She didn't just train her muscle strength and martial arts technique, but her lung capacity too, apparently. I haven't run like that in forever. My throat's so dry. I know, right? Hold on a second. I'll go buy some drinks. Mashido tottered over to a nearby vending machine. After a while, she came back carrying 3 bottles in her arms. Okay, Natsuhiko, Sally, my treat. What is this? Register Gold? It's an energy drink. It's got an ungodly amount of taurine in it, so it's the perfect nutrition replenishment when your body's fatigued. Sounds like it would just make you even more thirsty. Natsuhiko took a gulp despite his complaints. With their thirst quenched, they got to the main matter of discussion. Anyway, there was something odd about that security guard, wasn't there? Yeah, I felt so too. He did say they were tightening security, but did he really have to act that mean about it? Are all security guards in this city that oppressive? No, I really don't think so. There must have been some sort of reason. Do you think that facility actually received a threat letter too? Or maybe there was something beside that. Natsuhiko felt there were several suspicious points about what happened, but he didn't really understand any of them, so he couldn't come up with any guesses. And as they discussed everything that happened, the sky eventually began to darken. It's getting dark. True, should we start heading back, guys? Huh? Already? Well, it's only the proper thing to do. We're already doing dangerous things. Working past nightfall will only add to the danger. Besides, we can't make Yuri worry, so let's end our investigation here for today. I guess. Despite Mashido's words, she still seemed like she wanted to say something else. It's okay, tomorrow's a Sunday, so I don't mind joining you again tomorrow if you want. I see, you're right. Mashido finally smiled and nodded at Natsuhiko's words. I'm back. Welcome back. Once Natsuhiko, Sally and Mashido entered the living room, Yuri greeted them as usual. Whew, we're back, Yuri. Mashido sat on the sofa and took a deep breath. Hold on, guys, I'll make food after we rest a bit. Yuri blinked blankly and whispered to Natsuhiko. Did something happen to Mashido? She seems really tired out. Yeah, about that. Natsuhiko explained to Yuri what had happened that day. The reason why Mashido didn't come to the house in the morning, the existence of the terrorists, how the police and security department couldn't be relied upon. But for now, he glossed over how Mashido could use empathy in what happened at the Parapsychology Research Center. After listening to the story, Yuri calmly spoke. I see, sounds serious. Well, forget about me, I'm more worried about Mashido. She had probably been worrying herself sick about the potential terrorist attack ever since last night. She'd been behaving energetically all day today, but once they got back to the house, she crashed as if all her tension had snapped. If I'd only believed her from the start, she wouldn't be so tired out now, would she? With that thought in mind, Natsuhiko called out to her. Okay, Mashido. As a token of my gratitude for all the food, I'll be the one to make dinner today. Huh? Mashido's head jolted up in surprise. Yuri's eyes widened too. That's new. You're gonna cook, Hikaru? Yep, I am. Yuri couldn't cook at all. She couldn't even hold a kitchen knife, which meant that Natsuhiko had to be the one to do it. Natsuhiko, you can cook? Well, I tried before, but it was completely terrible. So that said, help me out, Sally. I can't cook either, but I'll try. Okay, that sounds good. To you, Mashido? Thanks. Mashido seemed a little happy. Okay, let's begin then. Okay. Natsuhiko and Sally stood in the kitchen and started off, just lining up the ingredients. Go for it, Hikaru. Sally, love is the very best spice. I think that's just a cooking cliche, but okay. Well, two halves make a whole, so if we work together, I'm sure we can compensate for our lack of skill. Cooking is just another form of chemistry. As long as you get the measurements and times right, it turns out good. Probably. I love how she often ends her sentences with probably. And with that wishful thinking, they began to chop the ingredients. But the two cooking novices stumbled even at the very first step. Sally, wash that rice for me. Wash? Yeah, to remove the excess starch. Understood. And with that answer, Sally grabbed the kitchen soap. Oh god. No, that's not what I meant by washing it. I mean, run it under some water and then you knead it. So I do knead it? Despite their essential partnership, they were unable to communicate properly. This could not possibly get any worse. While eating, it's going to be worse. As they moved on to making the side dishes, even more problems sprang up. Sally, the miso soup's too strong. Dilute it some. Roger. Sally answered like so and then tossed a bowl full of water into the pot. No, Sally, you have to be more precise. Do I? You just said that quantities were important, didn't you? Gotta measure it out properly. Well, I mean, at worst, if you put too much water in, you can just boil it off again. But the recipe doesn't say how much water to dilute it with. I can only trust my intuition. Besides, the cooking terminology is too vague. What exactly is a pinch? Well, don't ask me, it's kind of... Even though they're cooked while checking the recipe via PDA, the flavour mysteriously managed to betray expectations. Readjusting added another layer of difficulty. After nearly another hour of grappling with the ingredients. Okay, it's done. They finished cooking, somehow or another. They brought the miso soup and the meat and vegetable stir fry to the table in 2 separate dishes. Hey Mashiro, Yuri, we finished making dinner. I gave it everything I had, or at least I tried. Probably. Hikiden, Salyu, good work. Yeah, thanks guys. Mashiro spoke happily as she sat in front of the dishes. Now then, everyone, put your hands together. Thanks for the food. And with that, they reached out to the dishes in front of them. But soon enough, Salyu spoke sadly. The soup really didn't turn out well. It's because I botched measuring the quantities. Huh? No way. Shocked, Natsuhiko rushed to spoon himself a mouthful of miso soup. It tastes as good as any run-of-the-mill miso. It's okay, Salyu, it's good, you know? It really is, no need to worry. But it's not good at all compared to Mashiro's. Well, if you're gonna say that, then my stir-fry is the same way, you know? Let this just be a reminder of how delicious the food we normally get to eat is. I'm completely inexperienced too. No, if you're gonna say that, then I'm the one who's more inexperienced. No, I am. The two of them kept trying to out-humble each other. Mashiro giggled at their little exchange. It's okay guys, they're both delicious. Thank you guys so much. Okay, that's a relief. I'm sure it's nice to hear someone praise your cooking, huh? Exactly. So now you understand why I don't hate my role in this household. Yuri smiled as she watched the three of them converse. The cooking was plain and simple, but before they'd realised it, their usual warmth around the dinner table had returned. But then, as if to shatter the calm mood, the sound of the intercom rang out. Huh? A visitor? Who could it be at this time of night? Very rarely did anyone visit this house at night. Natsuhiko felt suspicious as he answered the intercom on the wall. Hello? Who is it? Is this the Tenkawa household? Huh? Yes, it is. Is Mr. Natsuhiko Tenkawa at home? Natsuhiko felt a little uneasy, so for now he answered dishonestly. I'm a housekeeper here. Mr. Natsuhiko isn't at home at the moment. Is that so? Who might you be? My apologies. I'm Takahashi from the Hirokume City Security Department. The security department? Natsuhiko was suspicious. Why would the security department give this house a visit? What business does the security department have with Mr. Natsuhiko? Well, we just got a call from the security guard at the Parapsychology Research Center. He said that 3 people who appeared to be Hiroku Academy students trespassed into the building and made a commotion. And when he tried to drive them out, they picked a fight with him instead and struck him hard enough to knock him out, apparently. Natsuhiko was terrified. That wasn't what had happened. Hold on, there has to be some kind of mistake. Please allow me to finish. The security department member used polite words, but his tone sounded relentless. We at the security department make sure to properly investigate all tips we receive. We refer to the footage of the security cameras installed at the streets. And right after the security guard was struck, we certainly did see a male high school student come out of the PRC. In cross-reference, the citizen database revealed that it was indeed Mr. Natsuhiko Tenkawa. Natsuhiko shuddered to think they could identify him with such accuracy in such a short amount of time. But that wasn't the problem. What the hell did that security guard tell them? It's completely disjointed from the truth, isn't it? Perhaps he resented being flung, but what he said was clearly fabricated. Excuse me, did you hear me? Yes. So we at the security department apologize for making such a late visit, but we'd like to ask Mr. Natsuhiko to come with us to the municipal office. Come with us, come with us. Natsuhiko fully understood full well what that phrase implied. The security department member didn't come here simply to ask for his side of the story. If that were the case, they could do it here and now. And the fact that he went out of his way to come here at night meant he came to take us into custody. Confused at the sudden turn of events, Natsuhiko decided to buy time for now. Hold on a second, I'll go contact Mr. Natsuhiko. He's always coming home late, so I'm sorry, but I must ask you to leave for today. Sure, thanks for your cooperation. Natsuhiko hung up the intercom and turned back to the girls, upon which they all looked back at him in worry. Hikiden, what happened? Well, it looks like someone from the security department came to take us into custody. Custody? Why? Don't tell me it was because of what happened at the Parapsychology Research Center. Well, it does seem like that. It wasn't your fault, Sally. Indeed, although the three of them were guilty of wrongdoing, the security guard was even more malicious. But regardless of how things got this way, it's bad that we attracted the security department's discerning eye. Extremely bad. What kind of people make up the security department? They're like a police force that manages the city. Natsuhiko thought back at his knowledge of the security department. The Dokume City Security Department was an organization that worked with the police to maintain the public order in the city. They were founded in 2016 based on the privilege of a government-designated top-secret city to mobilize a self-governed police force. They were a large organization consisting of 8 officials, 32 sections, and 400 men, given just about the same privileges as the police. For example, they had the authority to inspect the city's security camera footage and citizen database, the authority to carry extendable batons, as well as the authority to patrol, interrogate, and detain and take people into custody. Naturally, they didn't have the authority to possess handguns or to make an arrest, but in exchange, their footwork was light and they were able to intervene in civil affairs. Small fights, acts of discrimination against communicators, misdemeanors, and petty disputes were often reported more to the security department rather than the police, and naturally, those taken into custody by the security department were often handed over to the police. Crap, I deceived him with a spur-of-the-moment lie, but things look like they'll get messy if they take us into custody. True, we don't have time to deal with all that. Even though the security department member said he'd leave for today, they could still sense his presence outside the door. Perhaps he was waiting for Natsuhiko to get back, or possibly he was starting to make the connection that the housekeeper was Natsuhiko himself. The 4 children sank into silence for a while, and eventually Mashido muttered, "Do you think I can escape?" Huh? Escape? I mean, if they take us into custody and hand us over to the police, then I can't search for the terrorists. For starters, I can't even get back home. I have no choice but to escape through the window. Hey Mashido, now that's a little... but naturally, I'm going by myself. Just don't open that door. That would isolate Mashido again, and she'd seen the terrorist's face. And the off chance that something did happen, there'd be no taking it back. I want to at least send her off to her house, but... As that thought crossed her mind, Natsuhiko looked at Yuri. The girl who could not leave the house noticed his glance and spoke. You don't have to worry about me, okay? But... The security department man is only searching for you, Marshidon, and Sully, right? I don't think I'm included, so it's okay for me to stay here. Oh no. Natsuhiko was quite hesitant. If they left the house just once, the security department could catch them easily, and who knows when they'd be able to return. Why can't Mashido just sleep here? But is it really okay? Is it okay to leave Yuri here alone? He promised to himself that he'd keep watching over her. He had thought that way ever since the accident 9 years ago. No, even before that. If only I could go back to that time. And with that thought, Natsuhiko's mind recalled the events of 10 years ago. Oh, here we go. After Natsuhiko had heard Yuri's parents quarrelling at home, Natsuhiko worried about Yuri and went to the park every day to see her. But 3 days passed with no sign of her. So on the 4th day, he made up his mind and headed to her house once more. Yuri was standing all alone in front of her house, with a horribly sad look on her face. Yuri? Her face shined like the sun as soon as she heard his voice. Natsuhiko, did you come to play? Yeah, you weren't coming to the park, so I got worried. I see, I'm so happy. I wanted to play with you too. You should just come to the park then. But I can't, I'm not supposed to. Mum and Dad said I can't play with the other kids in town. Now that she mentioned it, he remembered that her parents had called communicators disgusting, even though their own daughter was a communicator herself. I see, so let's play in secret then. Should we play at your place or my place? We can't at my place, Mum and Dad are there. And then Natsuhiko heard that angry voice roar from the house again. Hey, do something with that brat by the door, she's such a damn annoying pest. All your goddamn selfishness does is drive her away. If you don't even want to bother raising her, then shut your damn trap. Natsuhiko felt he'd never heard such abusive language in his life. Yuri's expression grew darker and darker. Unable to stand any more of it, Natsuhiko spoke up to her. Okay, Yuri, let's go to the park right now. Huh? It doesn't have to be the park, just anywhere away from here. But if I go off and play on my own, then Dad might get mad at me. Forget about your dad, you don't want to play with me, Yuri? Of course I do. Then let's go, come on. Natsuhiko pulled Yuri by the hand. He wanted to take Yuri as far away from there as soon as possible. Yuri hesitated for a second, but... okay. She nodded ever so slightly and followed Natsuhiko. Natsuhiko took Yuri to the park. He thought that if even Mashido were there, they could have a fun playtime, but there's nobody here. Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, nobody was around that day. Perhaps everyone was at the secret base on the outskirts of town. Well, fine. Let's just play by ourselves. What should we play? We don't have any books with us today, so how about we just take a walk or something? Huh? Sure, if that's okay with you, Yeti. The two of them took an aimless stroll around the park. You having fun? I am, because I'm with you after all, Natsuhiko. Well, as long as you are, I'm sure we'll be able to play more fun things if my other friends were around though. Other friends? Let's see, if it had to be a girl then... Alright, there's this girl called Mashido. She's super energetic and super loud too. I'm sure you two would get along quickly if you met. Mashido, huh? Do you think she'd bother being friends with someone like me? It'd be fine, she's dumb. But the one good thing about her is that she easily makes friends with anyone. Come to think of it, there was this one time when Natsuhiko was determined to just keep on talking. He wanted Yuri to forget about the time and her troubles at home as much as possible. But no matter how hard he tried, Natsuhiko could not keep the sun from setting. It's gonna get dark soon, huh? Yuri sighed as she looked at the setting sun. Her smile already faded away. I have to go back home. You do? Yeah, if I'm out too late then Dad gets mad at me. Bye bye, Natsuhiko. Let's play again, okay? And with that farewell, Yuri slowly walked away. She shrank as if in a silent cry for help. Wait, Yuri! Without thinking, Natsuhiko raised his voice. Huh? Yuri, you don't want to go home, do you? That's not true. I'm sure Mum and Dad are worried about me. I'm not asking about your Mum and Dad. I want to know what you really want. But it's not like I can just run away from home. So I do want to go home. That's a lie. There's no way you'd want to go back to a home like that. Yuri's face cramped. Natsuhiko's heart hurt, but he felt like he would regret it if he let her go home then and there. Yuri, please, tell me how you really feel. Do you really want to go back to a home filled with shouting all the time? Finally, the dam broke and Yuri's tears came pouring out. I don't want to go back. I want to stay with you, Natsuhiko. She fell into Natsuhiko's chest and cried out for help. I hate how Mum never listens to me no matter what I say. I hate how Dad says I'm a pest no matter where I go. I hate how Mum and Dad never tell me that what I've done that's so wrong. I try not to get in the way. I try to be a good girl. I try my bestest to not make them mad. Help me, Natsuhiko, help me. Yuri's sobs echoed through the twilight park. Her spilling tears soaked Natsuhiko's chest. As he watched her scream and shout, Natsuhiko remembered something. Ah, that's right. The first day they met in this park, Yuri had been crying too. She was so quiet, yet so sad. He wanted to put an end to those tears. And what he'd felt back then hadn't changed since. In that case, huh? If you don't want to go home, then let's go somewhere, just the two of us. Natsuhiko gripped Yuri's hand. Yuri said nothing. Her face was soaked with tears. He couldn't tell what she was thinking. But even so, Yuri gripped Natsuhiko's handbag. He could feel her warmth through the softness of her palm. As Natsuhiko felt the warmth, he thought to himself, he swore that no matter what happened, he'd protect her for sure. That was when it had all started. By that time, he'd probably already convinced himself that he would do anything to protect Yuri. He had felt that way before the accident 9 years ago, and he still felt that way today. He wanted to keep protecting her, without ever leaving her side. But now's not the time for that, is it? Leaving Mashido alone to her own devices and staying in this house with Yuri probably wouldn't give him any peace of mind, and he couldn't take Yuri away with him, much less drag her into this mess. Natsuhiko thought long and hard, and finally he made up his mind. Okay, Yuri, please watch over the house for us. Got it. Okay, then shall we go, Mashido? Mashido's eyes widened at Natsuhiko's words. Huh? Wait, you mean you're going with me? Well, I can't just leave you alone now, can I? So much has happened today, it scares me to think about what could happen next. Even Salyu cut in with a whisper. Then I'll accompany you too, I'm partly at fault anyway. See, it feels a lot safer with the three of us, doesn't it? I feel a little bad about it, but thanks. Natsuhiko responded to her with a smile. For the time being, should we leave our PDAs behind? I get the feeling they can use GPS functionality to track us. Yeah, we can come pick them up tomorrow. We should only take the bare necessities, like our wallets. Salyu held Alice in her arms as she spoke. The three of them placed their PDAs on the table and raised the TV volume. They did so in order to cover the tracks of their escape as much as they could. Okay, we'll be going then. Yuri, you sure you'll be okay? Yuri smiled and replied to Natsuhiko's question. Hey Hikiden, don't worry about me so much. You're working to protect the town from terrorists, aren't you? It's not that big, Ed. Natsuhiko tried to deny it, but once he realized she wasn't that off the mark, he shut up. Yuri continued with a serious look on her face. Then you should go with Mashidon and Salia. You're definitely returning to the old Hikiden now. Back to when you were so righteous. You think so? I know so, but you mustn't make a repeat of what happened 9 years ago, okay? Overcome the past. I'm sure you can do it, Hikiden. Those words reached deep into his heart. Yet he's talking about what happened back then? Right before the accident 9 years ago, Natsuhiko left with Yuri, leaving Mashido behind. And now he was going to leave Yuri behind. But Yuri didn't stop him. In fact, she was telling him to go. Telling him to overcome the past. Okay, Yuri. Natsuhiko quietly nodded. But we're just going out for a short little bit. We'll be back as soon as humanly possible. Okay. I can't go with you, but I'll be waiting for you all to come back home. Natsuhiko exchanged a smile with Yuri, before speaking to Mashido and Salia. Okay, let's go, you two. Yeah, roger. And with that exchange, they opened the window. And with that exchange, it's time to wrap this episode up because we're out of time for today, but I don't think it's a good idea to... Why would they... No. They should just let her sleep here. The security guard's not going to kick his way in, is he? Even if he's hanging out outside the door. I say, everyone goes to bed, Mashido stays here and goes to bed, and deal with it tomorrow. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks again out for me, and I'll see you in the next one.